The City of Prince Rupert is currently in the process of updating our official community plan and zoning bylaw, two of our major bylaws that govern how land is used in Prince Rupert. So what is zoning and why is it important? Zoning is a set of rules that local governments use to determine what can and can't be built in certain areas. Cities use zoning to regulate land uses and separate those that don't work well together. For instance, heavy industrial and residential uses. Zoning works by dividing the city into different zones that tell you what uses are allowed there. In Prince Rupert, as in many communities, the main zones are residential, multifamily residential, commercial, public use, and industrial. Zoning also determines what the buildings will look like, including their size and height. Zoning is important because it shapes the places that we all live, work, and play. So what are some of the main changes proposed to Prince Rupert's new zoning bylaw? The following changes are being proposed to the city's existing zoning bylaw. Permitting secondary suites in all R1 and R2 residential zones with a requirement for off-site parking to be provided. In the R2 zones, secondary suites are only allowed in single-family homes. Allowing childcare facilities in commercial zones. Updating zoning to allow commercial cannabis operations, cannabis production, propagation, and processing for commercial purposes, in light industrial and industrial zones only. Greater focus on the management of derelict vehicles and regulating outdoor storage. Updates to the regulation of temporary traveler accommodations, which are intended to reduce potential competition with the rental housing market. Permitting of shipping containers for storage in light industrial and industrial zones. So that's M1, M2, M3, and M6 zones, with aesthetic regulations in place to manage potential unsightliness. Raising height allowances in the RM2 zone by 1 story. Clarification of signage regulations for home-based businesses, and greater power for enforcement for the municipality to manage violations of the zoning bylaw. So how can you weigh in on these proposed changes? And what are the next steps? A copy of the zoning bylaw and the official community plan are now available on the city's website, on the Rupert Talks project page for the official community plan, or you can request a package from City Hall by calling 250-627-0934 or emailing cityhall@princerupert.ca. Following this opportunity for review, a public hearing will be scheduled so that residents may bring forward any comments they may have, either in person or in writing or via email to cityhall@princerupert.ca.